Hey everybody, how's it going? I just wanted to get on here after our big trip back from the Grand Tetons, and I wanted to go through the bike. We just completed the 6,500 mile maintenance. So I was just going to walk you through how I did that and exactly like the condition that the bike came in after the long road trip, talk about some things. First thing I wanted to go through is that when you were watching my off-road video, you probably saw that the mirrors were flopping around because when I laid the bike down, the edges of these mirrors right here got pushed in. So I wanted to take a look at what the kit that Triumph gives you underneath the seat. So anytime you take your seat off, you'll find in that little tray this little kit right here. And inside of this kit, you'll see a 14mm wrench with a 10 on the end and a 10 with an 8 on the end, a 6mm hex, some smaller hex sizes, and then a little screwdriver that can either be flathead or Phillips. So what does that mean? That means that anytime you could easily take the seat off the bike, stop, adjust your mirrors with the kit that they give you. The 6mm wrench can go underneath. It's the same size as the oil drain plug. So if you don't have a T-handle set with you, you can drop the oil drain plug and change your oil on the bike at pretty much any time. A lot of these bolts here, like on my rack that I installed, the back side of the rack has 10mm bolts, and then these are 6mm hexes into the actual body of the bike. So if that rack were to loosen up, I could tighten it down with the toolkit that Triumph provides. What are some things that it probably wouldn't cover you under? Well, for one, all of these passenger peg mounting brackets are all Torx bits. So none of those passenger peg brackets, if they loosen up, will you be able to tighten down with the provided toolkit. If for some reason you wanted to, or if you had like an issue with your kickstand, I think that you might be able to solve it with the provided tools. But for some reason, if you were to throw your chain, maybe you didn't check the chain tension at the maintenance cycle and that was gone, you would not be able to loosen any of the things. You wouldn't be able to loosen your main axle bolt. You probably would be able to adjust the tension here, but without loosening that bolt, you're not going to be able to change your chain tension or remove any wheels from the bike. If you were to pull a flat, then you would not be able to change that flat with the provided kit. So those are some things to consider when you're out there on the road. The other thing that I thought was a little bit sketchy and you may want to look into is when we did the maintenance here, the air filter is under here. The bolts that attach this down could be the hex bolts. You could use the hex bolts in the kit to open up these two side panels here, and that is what gives you access to the air filter. But these are Torx bits. I believe they are T30s. Yeah, there's like 8 of these T30 bits that hold on the cover to the bike's air filter. So actually with the kit provided, you can't even clean the air filter, which I saw was quite dirty at the maintenance cycle. So at 7,500 miles, I pulled these bolts, pulled out the air filter. It was very simple to do, but you would not be able to do that in the field with the provided kit from Triumph. So you may want to look into adding in some Torx bits, into your tray under the seat, so that way you're able to do that in the field. So this bike has 7,500 miles on it right now. You can see the Metzler Tourance tires that come with the bike have tons and tons of grooves on the side. In the center, we're starting to get to that wear bar. I'm going to let them run for a bit. I mean, this is 650 miles of flat across Kansas. That's basically ran the center of these tires out. And we're kind of getting to the wear bars, but we're not quite there. I know guys that have run to like center steel bands before they replaced a rear. So, and definitely there's enough grip and sipe on the sides that when you're leaned over, you have nothing to worry about. So I think I'm gonna let these go for another 500 miles before I make a decision on changing tires. But yeah, these Metzler Tourance tires in the off-road video, you can go take a look. They did fine on, maybe an inch of sand with hard pack underneath. Gravel roads, totally fine. The place where I had trouble, and I think all ADV bikes are going to have trouble, because the tires that are meant for the street just aren't going to do mud really well. So if you get a big old rutted out mud hole that's 4 or 5 inches of water and then 2 inches of mud underneath, you're going to slip around. So you just expect that, really. And I'm looking for a tire that does a little better in that condition, but I'm not really willing to sacrifice any street performance. I wanted to come around here and show you this stuff that I found. When I was on my trip, I didn't take my usual 50 weight gear oil for the chain. I just went to the local hardware store and I bought some Brillo pads and wiped the chain off. And then I sprayed on this WD-40 gel lube, which it says is for specifically vertical chains, not to throw oil or throw any goop. And it works super slick. Came with the attached knob, so you don't ever have to worry about trying to keep a whatever on it. And then you just kind of come across here and it fills the chain. And then obviously you rotate the tire and it goes. As part of the maintenance cycle, we check the chain tension. We're still in spec, so I'm not going to adjust the chain at this time. And then coming around here to the bike, you can see that our oil, when we changed the oil, we put 3 quarts in. We're right in the middle of the sight gauge. That's right where you want to be. The filter is right up front here. It's very easy to change. I did not have to take the skid plate off. On the bottom of the skid plate, there's a hole. The drain plug is 6mm Allen, as I mentioned before. So we just put a tray under there, dropped all the oil, a little less than 3 quarts came out because we changed the filter. The filter was spun on there like some kind of grease monkey that was angry. Got to it before I did, so expect to use a filter wrench to get it off. But it wasn't too bad. I've had definitely worse bikes where the last service was done at the service center and they really reefed that filter on there. And it took me hours to get it off. That wasn't the case for the Triumph. I was able just to get a wrench on it and pull it off. The whole oil change took 20 minutes. Everything seems to be in good working order after 7,500 miles. I can show you the condition of the front tires too. As you can see, these fronts here, they're doing really well. Honestly, this could go another couple thousand miles. But likely what's going to happen is I'm going to probably try to get another 1,000 out of the rear and then just do both tires at the same time. One thing I wanted to show is I had built this camera mount here, this handlebar camera mount, which just uses typical action cam accessories. And then, had a little clip that I sort of just 3M padded to the back of my phone so I could quick clip the phone in. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I have an iPhone 11 and it has an optical stabilization in the back of the camera that is sensitive to vibration. And so what ended up happening is this mount is very solid. You can see, it's not coming off of there. I had no worries at all that it was going to drop off on the road, but it constantly vibrated with the bike at high frequency and it ended up smoking the optical stabilization in the iPhone camera. So if you get a chance to, I highly recommend getting either a more stable mount, or if you have optical stabilization on your camera, you should just use the Triumph provided charging station. Right here in the back seat under the bike is a nice padded place for your phone. I have a little iPhone charger already ready for it there. Keep your phone in there while you're riding and use directions through headsets. Use Siri to tell her what to do, what songs to put on, where to navigate to. And what really is kind of a kicker is that if the Triumph navigation app worked even in the slightest bit with the turn-by-turn directions on the TFT display, I think it would make a big difference for people not wanting to mount a phone on the handlebars. But basically that app is complete junk, and I really hope Triumph addresses that problem. At the very least, the only thing I want on the front of the TFT display is just a wide area map. Show me the roads that are close to me, in a 20-mile view, or maybe all the way down to a 5-mile view. Like between those two zoom levels, that's all I need for an adventure bike. You know, and that would be a huge upgrade from what it currently sits at. But all in all, 7,500 miles into the bike, no problems. You know, everything's working great. Chain didn't even need to be adjusted at the maintenance interval. Tires aren't even toast yet, but they will be soon. You know, I think that's pretty typical wear that you can expect. And so far, I'm pretty happy. So, peace out.